Gunfights every single day. Lawless murder towns where drunk cowboys shot sheriffs in the street for fun. Dusty roads soaked in blood, where survival depended on who could draw faster. That is the Wild West you were shown, over and over again, until it felt like history instead of a movie script. Now cut that image in half, replace it with a real photograph from the 1880s. Clean streets, children standing in daylight, sheriffs calmly posing for the camera. No chaos, no bodies, no panic. Because almost everything you think you know about the Wild West is wrong. Your movies lied, your school books simplified it, and the myth grew so big that the truth never stood a chance. Dodge City, the so-called murder capital of America, had lower crime rates than New York City at the same time. Most cowboys weren't even white, and Tombstone, the town Hollywood made famous for gun violence, actually had more laws than Boston. In the next 10 minutes, that entire cowboy fantasy dies forever. I'm Elsie, and if history class ever made you feel confident, this channel exists to ruin that feeling. Last time, we proved Vikings never wore horns. Columbus didn't discover America. Gladiator movies rewrote reality for spectacle. This is Fake History Files. School lied to you. And today, we're riding straight into America's favorite myth, the Wild West. Hollywood treats it like a sacred story. Lone white heroes, moral outlaws, violence as justice. John Wayne didn't just act in westerns, he sold a national identity. And schools quietly let it happen. If that version of history shaped how you see America, hit like now. Because what actually happened on the frontier doesn't look heroic, cinematic, or clean. It looks uncomfortable. Let's start with what school and movies taught you. They agree on 3 simple ideas. First, gunfights happened constantly, in every Western town, like a daily ritual. Second, that the frontier had no real laws, no structure, no authority, just chaos and survival. Third, that cowboys were white, rugged outlaws taming savage land through violence and grit. Teachers reinforced it with drawings of saloons, tumbleweeds, and six-shooters. Movies locked it in with High Noon, Stagecoach, and every Western that followed. The image was easy. It was exciting. It made sense. It was also almost entirely fake. Let's destroy the biggest lie first, because once it falls, the entire Wild West fantasy collapses with it. School and movies taught you that Dodge City was a non-stop killing zone, a place where violence ruled, and survival depended on who carried the biggest gun. Reality is quieter, and that's why Hollywood ignored it. In the 1880s, Dodge City averaged roughly 1.5 murders per year, not per month, not per week, per year. During the same period, New York City recorded more than 30 murders annually. Tombstone, Arizona, the town forever tied to gunfights, averaged about 1 to 2 murders a year, and most of those weren't dramatic street duels. They were domestic disputes, the same kind of violence found everywhere else in America at the time. There were no daily shootouts, no ritual duels at high noon. In fact, gunfights were so rare that local newspapers complained the towns were boring. They wrote about how quiet things were, how nothing exciting ever happened, how people were desperate for entertainment. Here's why. Guns were banned in Western towns. When you entered Dodge City, Abilene, Wichita, or Tombstone, you checked your weapons at the stable or hotel. Carrying a gun inside town limits could get you fined, jailed, or thrown out. Sheriffs enforced these rules aggressively. Wyatt Earp didn't build his reputation by killing men in the street. He arrested over 100 people, mostly for public drunkenness. Not murder, not dueling, being drunk and causing trouble. Violence was bad for business. It scared families, investors, and railroad companies. And railroads meant money. The order was profitable. Chaos wasn't. Now let's talk about who cowboys actually were, because this is where the myth gets even more uncomfortable. School sold you white heroes. Hollywood doubled down. Reality tells a completely different story. Historians estimate that nearly 60% of working cowboys were not white. Around 25% were black, many of them formerly enslaved men looking for paid work after the Civil War. One of the most famous cowboys in America was Nat Love, known nationwide as Deadwood Dick. About 20% were Mexican vaqueros, the people who invented almost everything we associate with cowboy culture today. Roping techniques, saddle design, spurs, ranching methods. America didn't create cowboy life. It copied it. Another 15% were Native American. The cowboys weren't a heroic class. They were a labor force, migrant workers moving from job to job. Women were there too. Annie Oakley wasn't a side character. She was a professional sharpshooter who made her living humiliating men in shooting competitions. Calamity Jane existed. So did Stagecoach Mary, over 6 feet tall, armed, and later employed as a mail carrier who fought off bandits. Chinese workers started as railroad cooks and ended up as ranch hands. Cowboys were paid about $30 a month. They slept outside, ate poorly, got sick constantly, and died from dysentery more often than from bullets. More cowboys were killed by lightning than by gunfights. John Wayne was a movie star. Real cowboys were exhausted workers trying to survive. Now let's finish off the idea that the frontier was lawless, because this myth collapses the fastest once you look at the rules people actually lived under. The Wild West was not a free-for-all. It was one of the most tightly controlled regions in America at the time. Western towns didn't hate laws. They relied on them. Abilene enforced more than 27 separate ordinances, more than New York City had during the same period. Cheyenne fined people $100 for swearing in public, a punishment severe enough to ruin most workers. Dodge City banned firearms entirely within city limits. Tombstone enforced a 9 p.m. curfew and banned gambling on Sundays. These rules weren't suggestions. They were enforced, and breaking them carried real consequences. Across the frontier, more than 800 sheriffs, marshals, and deputies were employed. Per capita, there were more lawmen in western towns than in many modern American cities. Newspapers didn't complain about chaos. They complained about too many rules, too much order, and not enough excitement. Everything. So where did the myth come from? Not from reality, from entertainment. In the 1870s, Buffalo Bill Cody took the frontier on tour. His Wild West show traveled across America and Europe, staging fake gunfights, scripted battles, and exaggerated heroics. It wasn't history, it was performance, and audiences loved it. By the 1890s, dime novels turned those performances into cheap mass entertainment. Violence sold, drama sold. Accuracy didn't. These stories spread faster than any textbook ever could. Then came silent films. Early cinema needed visuals that were easy to understand. Dust, guns, movement, tumbleweeds rolling through empty streets. Subtle reality didn't translate well to the screen. Directors like John Ford locked the myth in place. Monument Valley became the backdrop of American legend. Wide shots, lone riders, moral simplicity. The image was perfect. The truth didn't matter. $30 wages, disease, and exhaustion don't sell tickets. Staged gunfights do. So Hollywood chose drama, and America accepted it as history. So now the question isn't what the Wild West was. The question is what you want it to be. Some people say the myth matters more than the facts, that the stories are fun, that they built culture, that they gave America heroes when it needed them. Others argue the lies did real damage. They erased black cowboys, Mexican vaqueros, native riders, and working women. They replaced labor history with fantasy and turned real people into background noise. And then there's the middle ground. Enjoy the movies, love the genre. Just don't confuse entertainment with evidence. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Every Western suddenly feels different. Every gunfight feels staged. Every lone white hero feels incomplete. So here's the real question. Knowing what you know now, did every Western lie to you? And next Halloween, who do you dress as, John Wayne or Nat Love? Before we end, here are a few truths that never make it into movies. The deadliest threat to cowboys wasn't gunfights, it was lightning. More than 500 died that way, compared to fewer than 30 from shootouts. The most famous cowboy of the 19th century wasn't a white gunslinger. It was Deadwood Dick, a black cowboy known nationwide. Women served as armed sheriffs and mail carriers. Tumbleweeds weren't even Western, they were invasive plants brought from Russia. And the most famous gunfight in history, the one at the OK Corral, lasted about 30 seconds and left 3 men dead. That's it. No epic showdown, no cinematic buildup, just chaos and silence afterward. So let's lock it in. Dodge City was safer than New York. Most cowboys were non-white. Western towns had more laws than the East Coast. And Buffalo Bill invented the myth that Hollywood made immortal. The Wild West wasn't wild. It was regulated, diverse, and brutally ordinary. Next episode, we're tearing down another favorite lie. The Dark Ages weren't dark. If Hollywood owes history an apology, hit like. Subscribe to Fake History Files. Gem out.